Hello, and welcome to Casual Conspiracies, our podcast where we talk about conspiracies casually. I'm one of your hosts, and my name is Sarah.
And I'm Alex. So, Sarah was pretty insistent on doing... I had already started to record, and then she stopped me, and she was just like, no, I want to do the intro.
I think I did a really good job.
I mean, you did. You were just like, hello. And you were a whole lot less awkward than I am. I'm just like, hey, everybody. We've got,
Maybe you should let me do it from now on, then.
I don't know. We'll let the viewers decide. I'm sure William will have some input. He told me... He told me that the perfect time for him to listen to the podcast now is while he is working on his magic decks and sorting through his cards.
How long does that take?
It depends.
Oh.
It really depends. I mean, I have spent, and it's also, are you talking about like Sadie is up on the sink right now?
She's just chilling. It's fine.
Steadily moving towards the pots with the food that we haven't put away yet.
He figured out how to get to her food now.
Yeah, he was doing that earlier. No, so it depends on. Are you talking about in general for one sitting or like in total? She's about to jump into the sink.
Why is she doing that?
I'm gonna pause this real quick.
Why is she doing that?
And what was about 30 seconds for us was nothing for you guys. But yeah, are you asking like total time per deck?
It doesn't really matter. I was just like, I can't imagine like sitting and sorting through cards for like a long period of time.
Well, it's not really sorting through cards per se. You're like you're reading the text of the cards, figuring out what works together, and then putting it all together, making sure you have the correct number of cards for commander, making sure you've got enough lands, instant sorceries, enchantments, so on and so forth. I'm sorry. I know I keep talking about the cats, but she just dipped her beard in the water. Yeah, she's terrible about
her
that.
mane, she dipped it in the water.
But yeah, so thanks for tuning in and joining us. Go put on your comfy clothes and grab a beverage of your choice and enjoy the show.
Not a beverage.
Well, because I say that because, I mean, like, I'm not drinking tea. I'm not drinking a Coors right now. Coors, I'm still waiting on the sponsorship email. I'm actually drinking a acai berry liquid IV right now.
That's the kind I got.
Because I was feeling a little crusty and dehydrated.
I was feeling a little crusty.
Even after the body armor that I had, and I didn't even go for a run today, which I've been doing.
Sorry, I was trying to move it backwards.
You can move the microphone. It's
okay.
I didn't want it. Doesn't it feel solid though?
Well, yeah, I didn't want to make too much noise.
Yeah, so shout out to Gator Frameworks and Sweetwater. I've actually gotten quite a few things.
Is that where we got that little piece of candy from?
Yeah, Sweetwater. That's where these came from. That's where this came from, one of these cables, and I think possibly both of the microphones. It might have just been one, though. But no, Sweetwater's really good. They make a lot of, like, musical stuff and podcasting stuff and stuff like that. But no, I got some Gator Frameworks table mic stands. These things are solid. It's like a whole freaking cast iron pan at the bottom, weighing it down. They're super adjustable and they're really nice quality. So, yeah, shout out to them. Yeah, no, we're 4 minutes into this and we haven't even gotten to any of the topics. Gosh, we do have 2 topics. Something that I'm gonna try for this episode. We've got basically something that's a little on the shorter side.
Jeffree Star.
I wasn't even done like introducing.
Sorry, I was excited.
Dang, like I gotta work up to it. Gosh, it's something that Sarah told me last. No, it was after the last episode, but I think we were laying in bed and I had my day planner out and I was trying to plan my day, plan the week and everything, and I had on one side of the notebook, it's got just a regular ruled sheet of paper, and I was just like, hey, write down ideas, and she brought up this thing, and she showed me some tweets. Now, I am not a makeup fanatic. I really don't know anything about it, and honestly, I don't really give a crap about makeup. So for this portion, the only reason that I know who Jeffree Star is because when I worked at Staples, he was releasing some kind of palette or something like that, and Sarah really wanted it, and she was afraid that she wouldn't have money for it and that it would get sold out or something like that. So I had me and a friend of mine that I was working with at the time, and also on the work computer, I was in the thing trying to add it to the cart, and she got it to work on her phone. So then I completed the purchase on her phone and got Sarah the makeup palette that she wanted. But considering I don't,
It's funny now because it was the Shane Dawson palette. So, and we can go into this when we talk about it because it's kind of a part of it, like all of the scandals that he was in.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. So like you're the expert when it comes to this. So I want you the scandals that could have built up to this thing. Basically, the tweets read something about Jeffree Star has been trying to avoid the Illuminati and trying to survive them. And I feel like there's a lot of this that I just don't understand. So I'm going to let Sarah take the wheel for this one. And then the next part of the episode, which is what I'm thinking is going to be the bulk of this episode. Sarah doesn't even actually know what it is about, but it is a very...
it's a surprise.
It's a time-consuming topic. Emphasis
Is it time
on...
travel?
You're ruining it.
You said it. You said that.
It.
You ruined it. You gave it away.
Yeah. So I'm direct monitoring with my headphones this time into the audio interface and listening, and I've just got it on 50%. Telling you right now, just listen at 50%. That'll probably be fine because holy crap, she can be kind of like, well, it's because you keep on like, it's because you keep on getting up on the microphone, and it's just like
I'm not trying to.
It's like that episode that your dad was on. He was just like, and it was just like, dude, back up off the mic a little bit. You're about to.
We kept telling him.
You're about to swallow the thing.
He's so funny.
But yeah, so get into it because you're the makeup expert.
Okay. So I have always loved like watching makeup tutorials and stuff like that on YouTube ever since I was like pretty young. When I was in like middle school, I kind of got into it. And the beauty community on YouTube has evolved. That's literally what it's called. Well, I don't know why you're laughing.
The beauty community?
Yes. It's evolved a lot from the days that I started with like Michelle Phan and Bethany Moda to, you had the kind of golden era, I guess. It was like Jeffree Star and Tati and James Charles and Manny MUA. I don't know if you could really call it the golden era and Nikita Dragon. Because that's when, and Nikki Tutorials. Sorry, I keep thinking of more. Because that's when there's this whole thing that happened. They called it Dramageddon, and there was like 2 different parts to it. Yeah, it was a whole like thing. So like everyone was like caught up in all of these scandals, and they were like shading each other, and like in their social media posts, and like you know what subtweeting is?
No.
It's like when you tweet about somebody but you don't tag them. So they were like subtweeting each other, like being really shady. And all of that, like it happened a long time ago and it was kind of confusing. So I won't really get into all of that. But basically it ended up in Jeffree being sort of like, him and Manny MUA used to be like really, really tight. They did videos with each other all the time. And it kind of like split the community in half, and like a bunch of people, I don't know, it was just a lot. People were like taking sides.
You could say it wasn't a beautiful split at all.
It wasn't. Shut up. Well, people were like taking sides and like calling out each other's like scandals and stuff like that, and like exposing each other and trying to like cancel each other or whatever on the internet.
Just don't get famous.
Anyway.
That sounds like such a for something that's like the beauty community. Sounds so toxic.
Oh, it was very toxic. Yeah, it was a very toxic little stretch there. But and I'm not even gonna like get into that because that doesn't really have anything to do with this.
Then why did you?
No. Just listen. Okay, that doesn't really have anything to do with like this in particular. It's just like you just kind of need to know that like Jeffree Star is no stranger to a scandal. Okay. So as all of this was coming out, like people were calling him out because before he did makeup, he did music, and he was like very much like misunderstood and made fun of and like blah 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 blah. And so he would lash out at like other people, and there's like, you know, like recordings and stuff of him saying these like super racist things and stuff like that. And so all of that came out and people were like, oh, like cancel Jeffree Star, like da da da. And then like he would bring something up about the other people and they'd be like, oh, cancel James Charles, whatever. Like, anyway. So around the time that all of this was happening, there's another YouTuber, you know Shane Dawson, right?
Yeah.
So he started out, making some pretty problematic content. He did blackface a few times, which is not good. And, you know, just like he would do skits and stuff like that at first, and then he kind of moved on to like music videos and like parody videos and stuff like that. And he said some things that are like sexually like inappropriate as well, like about his cat.
This is a family show.
Huh?
This is a family show.
No, I'm not. I mean, I'm not gonna like get into anything, but like some like creepy things about minors and like some creepy things about his cat, all in the name of like, oh, it's like a dark humor, like it's like funny because it's like taboo or whatever. But some people were like, but is he being for real though? So you kind of like, it's kind of important to understand these people's past as to like what happened. So Shane Dawson's channel evolved from the skits to like these music videos, and then he got into like this conspiracy era where he was like talking about a bunch of different conspiracies, and over time his channel kind of evolved into like he did these docu-series. So I think one of his first ones was he was like tracking down his dad because his dad is like kind of estranged or whatever, and like left his mom when he was little or something like that. And then he did one about Tana Mojo and TanaCon, that was like a whole big thing. And he did one on Jake Paul, like is Jake Paul a sociopath? He has done one on Eugene. Do you know who Eugenia Cooney is? Hold on, if I showed you a picture you would know. She's the YouTuber that she does like gaming streams and stuff like that.
I thought, wait,
Eugenia.
Oh.
Eugenia Cooney. Basically, she's like super anorexic, but always tells her fans like she's not, but she's got like a really, really bad eating disorder. Yeah.
I've never seen her in my life.
And she's always like, oh, I'm fine. Like, that's a whole nother scandal, honestly, that happened. She was like sectioned, and you know what that means, like they took her into like a facility for treatment and whatever. Anyway, so his channel evolved into doing all of these like docu-series of these people, and one of them that he did was on Jeffree Star. And a lot of it was like the aim was to like make people kind of feel bad for like people who had been canceled and stuff like that, and like explain like controversial situations or whatever, because like he did conspiracies before that. So one of them was about Jeffree, and it kind of went into how like he started in the music industry, and so he knows like really famous like music people. Like he lives, or he used to live in like Hollywood, and so he's like he was at least in kind of with the I don't want to say like Hollywood elite, like he made music with like Akon, and at the time Akon was like big, you know.
I'm glad you said at the time.
At the time, because it was like early 2000s that he made music, and so he kind of switched from doing that to doing makeup. And so started his YouTube channel and everything, and then started his brand because he's got a whole. If you look up like Jeffree Star Cosmetics,
Well, hang on. I'm looking at his songs.
they're kind of strange. I mean, he's like strange. Like that's kind of his thing is that he's strange. Like he like has his eyebrows shaved and stuff like that. Like he's just kind of a strange individual.
Okay, so I've got cosmetics. Third eye bundle. Ooh, this is kind of... What the heck?
Yeah,
This is so uncomfortable.
That's like, well, I mean, that's like his thing. He's like kind of strange. And kind of a funny story. One of our friends, I mean, I don't want to like say like their name or whatever, but she just bought a makeup palette from there because she wanted like a nude makeup palette. And I think it's called Orgy is the name of the palette, and all the shade names are like...
This is a family show.
I'm not getting into anything, but all the shade names are like, you know, like sexual, whatever.
Do I know this person?
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, it's just kind of funny. She didn't know when she ordered it. She just saw the colors and was like,
"Oh, wait, so she didn't pay attention to the name of it or where it came from or anything?"
No, I think she said it like popped up on her Instagram or something like that.
And okay.
And she just ordered it. She was like, "Oh, it's because it has really pretty colors."
I gotta get off the site.
Anyway.
So uncomfortable.
So he has a super like successful business. He's like made a lot of money like selling makeup. He does other things too, like other than sell makeup. So he owns all these warehouses in California. Or at least he did. I don't know if they... Well, I mean, I guess what the website's still up. He must still do it. He used to do like you know, like when YouTubers make merch and they sell it. Like his warehouse was where a lot of them had their merch that they sold. Like he was like the supplier of their merch. So like on the surface he's this like YouTuber, like whatever, super successful, but like he was really even more successful like deep down. He's like has a lot of money, really really nice like mansion. He doesn't live in Hollywood anymore, but we'll get to that in a minute. But basically, after the thing with him and Shane Dawson, so in the docuseries that he filmed about Jeffree Star, part of it was like Shane Dawson was getting into makeup, and so they made like a couple of palettes together. It's one of the ones, because I used to be a really big fan.
I know, because you really wanted that.
I was a really big fan at the time. And then all of this stuff started coming out. Like, right after that, all of this stuff started coming out about how Shane Dawson, like, said all those inappropriate things about the kids and his cat. And then people were, like, getting really upset about like, Jeffree Star saying, like, all of the racist stuff. And there had apparently been, like, a more recent incident. Because, you know, some people were like, oh, that was a long time ago. Like, he's changed as a person. But there was something that had happened more recently that people were like, no, he really hasn't. And so it was a whole controversy, like... That, I mean, they were basically, like, canceled. And, like, Shane Dawson was run off of YouTube. Like, he still hasn't updated his channel in a really long time. Jeffree Star still has, but he's nowhere near as popular as he used to be. But so that's the whole thing. So that happened probably right before all of that happened, like right before the pandemic. And then you have the tweets. Would you like to read the tweets that were pretty recent from Jeffree?
I don't have them.
Oh, I have them screenshotted. Hold on. So recently, Jeffree Star tweeted, what a crazy effing year. I escaped the Illuminati in 2021, and they still haven't killed me. Every day I wake up grateful. In 2020, I was going to expose everything. In a matter of days, the Hollywood elite tried to ruin my career, villainize me, and flooded the news with lies to discredit me. If you guys only knew the truth about what they were doing to Britney and Kanye, anyone who challenged the system gets eliminated. So it's just interesting how, like, I'm not saying that he didn't do, like, the things that people said he did or whatever. I mean, because, like, some of them, they've got recordings, and, like, they are pretty nasty. But, it's just weird how, like, all of this stuff comes out when he says he's like, oh, trying to expose them or whatever. And like all of the people that he like, Britney and Kanye, like both, well, Britney, you know, everyone was like free Britney or whatever, so that she had like the whole conservatorship thing, so she couldn't really like do things for herself. But then like a lot of things are happening with like Kanye too right now, and I know that he's a little off the deep end. But I don't know, it just makes you think about like, okay, what can I actually trust that is like being said in the media, and what can I not trust? You know what I mean? Like, how many things are taken out of context that people say? And I mean, some things it's like that they said what they said, and there's like not really any taking it out of context. Like, that's just you, like, you can't say stuff like that. Like all the stuff with like Kanye and the Jewish community or whatever, like how he like renamed himself to, like, you can't do that. But like some of it, it's like, okay, like how much of this other stuff that we're hearing, I guess, is like accurate. I don't know. It's just kind of weird. It's just a weird coincidence, and it's like, is it even a coincidence? So, but yeah, he was in Hollywood. He lived in Hollywood. He moved recently. He had a boyfriend, and they broke up. And he moved recently to, I think, Colorado. Home? Wyoming. He moved recently to Wyoming. So he's got this big, like, basically like a farm that he lives on. He used to have this giant house in LA. But now he lives in this, like, farm in Wyoming. Like, they basically, like, run him out of Hollywood is, like, what he's claiming. And I don't know. It's, like, I guess I can kind of see it. It's just sort of interesting.
Yeah.
How, like, oh, he's, like, canceled or whatever, and then it's, like, this stuff comes out, and we're like, Like, do they be canceling people sometimes because they don't want, like, the truth to be exposed? You know?
100%.
I don't know.
About got me on Team Jeffree. No,
No, I mean, I still think, honestly, like, I do think there are some things that he's, like, said and done that people have brought up. They're like, it doesn't really matter what context you put that in. You can't really excuse it, and it's not right. But it's also like, okay, people grow, you know. Part of the whole thing on the Shane Dawson, like, docuseries, they had this, like, whole heart-to-heart conversation thing where, like, he, it was almost like a coping mechanism kind of thing, because he got picked on a lot, because he's weird, and people would call him, like, the F slur and stuff like that, because, you know what that is? Because he's gay.
Yeah, I know what that is.
Well, I don't know if you've ever, like, heard it called that before, but people would call him, like, the F slur and stuff because he's gay, so it's like, I do get that, like, okay, people are hurting me, like, I want to hurt them back, and so I'll do that however I can, and it's like, I do feel like you can grow from stuff like that, but I don't know. That doesn't make it not wrong.
So, yeah. Was that it on the Jeffree Star thing?
Yeah, I mean, I can check his Twitter, but I don't think there's been any, like, I think that's all. He kind of just, like, dropped that and then, like, left. like, okay.
We crop dusted Twitter with.
Honestly. Yeah, there's a picture of his butt.
What? I don't want to see that, personally.
Okay. I'll show it to you if you want.
Nah, I'm good.
He tweeted another tweet. So that was, the other ones were from 6 days ago. This one is also from 6 days ago. So the same, like, string of.
So right on December 31st. Because today's the 5th.
Yeah. I still have a soul. Can't say that about a lot of these demons I used to surround myself with. Which is interesting, because it's like Illuminati, like deal with the devil kind of thing. I mean, you look at what the replies look like.
All of a sudden you see Akon be like, bring back.
I don't think I can read that one. I'll read it. Does the Hollywood elite have a customer service number? Because IDK, how many more titty squeezing videos from Britney the world can take?
Dang.
Oh my gosh. Let's see. Yeah, some people are like kind of roasting. Somebody says I can believe it's somebody that's verified. I don't know who this is. Mr. Marilyn.
You can hear the cats.
I guess another
barreling
makeup.
through.
I guess another makeup guru or whatever. I haven't really watched. Like I haven't been into the makeup community in a while, so I can believe that completely. But look at the other side, baby. You really have survived it. Blah blah blah. You're a survivor. Hold your head up high. And people are saying that like, oh. Both are. Oh, someone on here is saying, and they're verified. I don't know who this is. Cindy Rose. Does that sound familiar to you?
No.
Okay. Somebody replied and was talking about how Britney and Kanye are very different because Britney, the situation that she was in wasn't really her fault, whereas Kanye's kind of dug his own grave with the stuff that he said. And she said both of them are victims of MK Ultra. Google it. Britney and Kanye West.
I could see that.
Interesting, right? That would be an interesting thing to research.
Yeah. MK Ultra.
Somebody said
I admit that though.
Do what?
Government would never admit that though.
Somebody said I don't even believe that the Kanye and Britney they've shown us are even the real ones. Elon is dropping massive truth bombs. Okay, then it starts talking about Andrew Tate and stuff. I'm done with that one.
Yeah, 100% Elon has been dropping the Twitter files and
That's
just releasing stuff.
Another thing that people have said though is that like every time that he's caught up, that Jeffree Star is caught up in a new scandal, he's like, oh, I have something to expose. Like, you guys don't even know. Like, if he's like kind of like talks big about that kind of stuff. So it's like, I don't know. Is he telling the truth or is he not?
I mean, it could
He won't say it. So it's like, oh.
Well, because he's probably like, oh yeah, I've got this information and all they can do is cancel him. Because they know that if he probably has like some fail-safe, like if he gets killed or something like that, the information gets leaked. Also, they probably know that if he's saying, oh yeah, I've got this information, and then he does get killed, then it's going to look like, oh, this is kind of sus. Like, what's going on here?
Somebody also said, it seems people are confused as to why Jeffree mentioned Britney Spears and Kanye. It's because both were victims of Harley Pasternak, who is a Hollywood personal trainer, he says in quotation marks. Here's a text message he sent to Kanye and a thread of what he actually does. So the text message he sent to Kanye was, I'm going to help you one of a couple ways. First, you and I sit down. I think I've seen this screenshot of this text message before. I don't know if you have. First, you and I sit down, have a loving and open conversation, but you don't use cuss words, and everything that is discussed is based in fact and not some crazy stuff that dumb friend of yours told you or you saw in a tweet. Second option, I have you institutionalized again where they medicate the crap out of you and you go back to Zombieland forever. Playdate with the kids just won't be the same. That's kind of scary. Some of his noteworthy clients: Adam Levine, Lady Gaga, Kim Kardashian, Megan Fox, John Mayer, Amy Schumer, Ariana Grande, Charlie Puth, Jessica Simpson. Let me see if I can see anyone that's like, oh, they've been in a scandal. Mac Miller. That's kind of
Oh yeah, he
noteworthy. Yeah. Ooh, not Seth Rogen. Robert Downey Jr. I feel like he's said some things before that's like,
I'm pretty hyped for this special thing. Got 3 different tabs open.
I was just looking at some of the replies. It's kind of interesting. I don't know. It's like, I don't know if I believe it quite or not. But it is interesting. If it's a coincidence, it's an interesting coincidence,
Yep.
And a lot of people are kind of calling him out, like dang, they are getting it. Like, well, if you got something to expose it. Like, say it, you know?
Yeah.
But then it's kind of like, it's kind of dangerous. I don't know.
Let's see. All right. So are you ready to...
Yeah, we can do the next one.
All right. So... You guessed it earlier. This one is about time travel.
Interesting.
But it's not your typical time travel, and it's not dealing with who you would think it deals with.
Okay.
All right. What if I told you that somebody in the Trump circle is a time traveler? The look on her face.
Who are you talking about?
Don't know for sure.
Okay.
Could be, hang on. Could be Trump, could be his son Barron, or it could be, what is it, Steve Bannon? His, like, right-hand man or whatever. Let me give you the reasons as to why this is possible.
Okay.
So...
This one's going to be a crazy one, huh?
Yeah, this one's crazy. I first saw it on TikTok from a guy, and I forget his name, but he was talking about it. He was going in depth. It relates to the second Back to the Future movie and the first one. Yeah, I know. So, there was a man named Ingersoll Lockwood.
That sounds like a made-up name.
Well, it's not.
I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying it sounds made up.
What if he looked at you and said, Sarah, that sounds like a made-up name?
That sounds like a real name.
So, in 1889 and 1893, Ingersoll Lockwood published 2 children's books in response to Alice in Wonderland. Because the whole, like, the magnificent mythical children's book thing had started because of Alice in Wonderland. It was craze going through all. So he decided to publish some children's books in response. The books were titled, if I could pull it up, Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey.
What the heck?
Yeah, this is in 1889. And so Ingersoll published the first novel, Travels and Adventures of Little Baron Trump and His Wonderful Dog Bulger, in 1889. And its sequel, Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey, in 1893.
Do they got a dog?
Yeah.
What's his name?
I don't know.
You can't leave me in suspense like that.
It's Bulger backwards. No, I'm just...
Shut up.
No, so, the novels recount the adventures of the German boy Wilhelm Heinrich Sebastian von Trump, who goes by Baron Trump, as he discovers, get this, weird underground civilizations, offends the natives, flees from his entanglements with local women.
You said it's 1890?
1889 and 1893.
Okay, I'll say 1890s.
Okay, so flees from his entanglements with local women and repeats this pattern until arriving back home at Castle Trump.
How old is this child?
I don't know. The novels were part of a trend in Americans' children's literature that responded to the demand for fantastic adventure stories, triggered by Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland in 1865. Basically, these books were like long forgotten because it was just like, oh yeah, it's just some crappy children's book. Until 2017, after Trump won the election and got actually inaugurated and everything. And then some people in the media and everyone were bringing up these books and like joking about it and everything, being like, oh, this is so funny. There is... So get this. Jamie Fuller wrote in Politico that Baron Trump is precocious, restless, and prone to...
Hold on. How do you spell Baron?
Baron.
Okay, it's not with 2 R's.
No.
Okay, because there's 2 different spellings of it on this website.
So, and prone to get in trouble, often mentions his massive brain, and has a personalized insult for most people he meets. Chris Riota noted in Newsweek that Baron Trump's adventures begin in Russia and also mention another book of Ingersoll's. This is the crazy one. Ingersoll also, and I think it was 1899 or 1898 or something like that. Mm-hmm. He wrote a book called The Last President, or 1900, or The Last President. That was the title of it.
Mm-hmm.
In which the president's home city of New York is riven by protests against a rigged presidential election.
That is so strange.
It was written in the late 1800s.
Like, genuinely?
Yes. Publisher was 12th Media Services. Or that's what Amazon says. January 1st, 1893. Yeah, I low-key want to buy these books, actually, to read them. Because there's the Barron Trump collection. Yeah, so it looks like the first two Barron Trump novels are like children's books, and then he wrote 1900 or The Last President, which is just the ending of the Barron Trump saga, but it's like not really a children's book. But yeah, so
I was looking to see if it was a common name in that time period, because if it was, that's like, oh, it could have just been like a common name, even though the last name's a little suspicious, but I couldn't find any data on it.
Okay, so, and then this is from a TikToker named Linda Say-Even.
Let me see.
Oh, Lindsay Ivan. I can't believe that.
Stupid.
Woo. Okay. So I'm just gonna read.
You are so dumb.
So it says she says Donald Trump and his son are time travelers, and I'm about to show you why. First starters, let's look at this book from the 1890s.
Like, does she think they're time travelers from the 1890s? Like, they time traveled into the future, or they time traveled into the past?
I think they time traveled into the past.
Oh, okay.
Because it would be a whole lot easier to have a book written in the past based off of what you already know you do in the future, you know? But the book, The Marvelous Underground Adventures, is about a young boy named Barron Trump who finds a portal and time travels. And now Daily Mail isn't working. Donald Trump's son is named Barron Trump. Not only that, in the book, Barron is guided by a man named Don.
You found this on the Daily Mail?
No, this is dailystar.co.uk. Okay.
This
isn't where I originally saw it. They're just reading from her TikTok.
I gotcha.
Gotcha. But he's guided by a man named Don.
That's
in the book.
That's strange. See, I would think that they time traveled into the future based on the plot of the book.
Okay, so there's another book. It's about an unlikely presidential candidate that won the election. Not only that, but the book, get this, the book talks about the Fifth Avenue Hotel. The address in the book is the same address where the Trump Towers currently stand.
Is that all for real?
Yes.
You looked up the book. What's the book called?
So it's the Barron Trump collection, but in specifically the stuff that we're talking about now is it's called 1900 or The Last President. Okay? In the book, there's also a character named Laugh Pence, similar to Mike Pence. Okay.
Ingersoll Lockwood.
People were like, I've been saying this for years. It's a lot of similarities. Too many coincidences indicate no coincidences at all.
That's freaky, man. That's really freaky.
And then people are like, oh, it kills me how people believe everything. And it's just like, yo, like, these are a lot of coincidences.
I'm just trying to figure out we're not getting mermaid documentaried again.
No. Okay, no, these are actual books. I want to buy them off of Amazon and read them. Read them to my long reading list for this year. Lord have mercy.
Lord have mercy.
So there's also crap. Because this was part of it, lightning strike.
I would like to see the copyright whatever of this. Here we go. Oh, yeah, it says it was published in 1890.
Mm-hmm. So there was also a thing.
I'm looking at Amazon reviews.
Let me see if I can pull this up. So the other thing, how it relates to Back to the Future, I can't find the thing right now, but it was something about like the lightning hitting the clock tower or whatever. But also, the director of Back to the Future 2, when he was watching what was going on, he realized some similarities. All right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Back to the Future 2 screenwriter, this is from USA Today, the screenwriter Bob Gale told the Daily Beast that Marty McFly's arch nemesis, the wealthy villain Biff Tannen, who turned his fortunes, among them casino, a casino is one of his fortunes, into a quest for political power, was based on the Donald. So pretty much they based what happens to Biff in the movie on Donald Trump back in 1989.
Interesting.
You watch part 2 again, and there's a scene where Marty confronts Biff in his office. There's a huge portrait of Biff on the wall behind Biff, and there's one moment where Biff kind of stands up, and he takes exactly the same pose as the portrait. So he used the profits from his towering casino to help shake up the Republican Party before eventually assuming political power himself in what becomes a lawless dystopian wasteland. Biff encourages every citizen to call him America's greatest living folk hero.
I would be interested. So a lot of the
and that's what the image of Biff looks like in the second one.
Oh gosh.
It looks like him.
I'd be interested to so the collection, the Barron Trump collection.
Yeah.
There's three. Well, I just want you to read it and tell me what it's about. There's three.
Because they're short books.
Yeah, there's three. So it says that everyone who's reviewed it said that the last one is like weird and doesn't seem to have anything to do with the rest of them. Yeah, so travels and adventures of little Baron Trump and his wonderful dog Bulger, Baron Trump's marvelous underground journey, and the last president, or 1900. So I guess people are saying that the last one, it like just doesn't seem to go. Like, the final book in this volume discusses the rise of a U.S. president who has been... What are you...
He just fell into the printer box.
Bless him. Do you need help, buddy?
He's like, nah, I got this.
Okay. You should probably just get off of that.
He's not going to.
Has been variously described... Oh, the final book in this volume discusses the rise of a U.S. president, has been variously described as either coincidental or prescient? It's like hard to read. It's
prescient.
Prescient?
It's like foreseeing
like
the future. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've never heard that word before. Of aspects, of the 21st century. Shut up.
I feel special now.
Political climate set in an America torn by division and dissent. There are references to a hotel in Fifth Avenue, New York, and an election of an outsider candidate ensuing in a chaotic atmosphere.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Yeah.
So
it
here's
mentions on the back of the book that people are like.
So, it doesn't end there.
Mm-hmm.
The conspiracy does not end there. So, you know Nikola Tesla?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you know how he died?
Did he get electrocuted, perhaps?
No.
I thought maybe because of the coils.
I think it was... I think they said it was sewer slide.
Oh, okay.
Okay. He was doing a lot of, research into vibrational patterns, all that stuff, electricity, radio waves, all that different stuff.
I'm familiar with the Tesla coils.
Stuff that theoretically, time travel, okay?
Does that have to do with any of that have to do with time travel?
Vibrational and radio frequencies, kind of, yeah.
Oh.
So when he died, the FBI went to his office and collected his materials.
Not his materials.
Yeah, and you would think, why would the FBI be collecting his materials if they claim he wasn't really, like, he didn't have anything that was just like, oh my gosh, the citizens can't see this. Except the very first person that was on the scene was Donald Trump's uncle.
Interesting.
For real. The first person on the scene.
Is he in the FBI?
Well, he's dead now, but...
Was he in the FBI?
I think he was. He was in the... I think he was in the FBI, but he was the first person on the scene when they investigated his death.
That's so interesting.
So here's the thing. Here's the theory. Mm-hmm. So, say Nikola Tesla figured out time travel. Mm-hmm. Say he was sewer slided. Mm-hmm. And Trump's uncle was the one to collect all the materials.
What year was he sewer slided?
It was after. It was like early 1900s.
Okay.
So it was definitely after the books were published.
Oh, so maybe they did have to go back.
So
in time. He
takes that, and then somehow or whatever, I don't know how this plugs in, but Trump himself and then his son Barron find said time machine, or figure out how to make said time machine, or have the plans, have the money, so they pay a scientist to build said time machine.
And then they said, hey, Ferb, I know what we're going to do today.
Pretty much. And so then at this point, they basically go, so that they, at this point, we're talking about, it would probably be around this time or a little before, probably after the 2020 election, after he left the White House, is more than likely when they did the time machine, went back. Somehow gave Ingersoll Lockwood the inspiration to write the 3 books. Mm-hmm. And then said, because it's just like, oh yeah, there's the adventures, of Barron and everything. And then the last one is just like, just kind of jarring, like completely different from the rest of them. So then they do that. And so then the one part that I haven't completely figured out is why they would do this. Could it be just billionaires having fun?
Maybe they were trying to warn us.
But what would they warn us about?
To not elect him. They didn't listen.
Well, and the interesting thing about that theory is the fact that...
Maybe he was trying to, hide it in a children's book. But he was like, somebody's got to know about this.
But if he was just like, don't elect me, then he wouldn't run. No,
I mean, maybe they went back in time. Maybe. Okay, just hear me out, because I'm about to create a story.
Hey, we all about conspiracies.
I'm about to paint a picture for you.
All right.
They go back in time, and they find Inglewood. What's his name? What's his name? I don't know.
Ingersoll Lockwood.
I was close. They find Mr. Lockwood, and they make fun of him because of his name, or maybe they just did something to spite him. But maybe they were friends at first, and the Trumps betrayed him. And so he was like, you know what? I'm going to make sure that he doesn't. And they told him about that we're time travelers. We're from the future. I'm going to be the president, blah, blah, blah. And they told him about all that. And he was like, I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen. And so then they went back to the future. That's how it ties into the movie. And no, I'm just kidding. But the rest of I'm serious about. But then he wrote it because he was like, I want to make sure that he's not the president.
So what's interesting about that is then you have the third book, which is titled 1900, or The Last President.
Yeah, that is kind of spooky.
So then it's like, what do you mean by the last president, Mm-hmm. And then it kind of got me thinking, shadow puppets, like, is Biden actually the president?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if we're going along this conspiratorial line, is that a word? It sounds like
yeah, conspiratorial.
If we're going along this conspiratorial line, then say, oh yeah, Trump was the last actual president. Biden isn't actually the president, because that was a big thing about, like, oh yeah, the election was stolen. Biden isn't actually the president. There were a lot of conspiracy theories on, like, Cloud Hub and stuff like that.
I don't know how much I buy into those.
I'm not saying that I buy into them. I'm just saying it could go along with it, where they were basically saying that, like, Trump did actually win the election, but they did rig the results to make Biden seem like the winner, but that Trump was actually the president. And it went along the lines with, like, which I did. This part is kind of true. I think it was Theodore Roosevelt or one of the presidents. Might have been Franklin Roosevelt. He basically, one of them, they signed some kind of law, made a deal, and it basically turned the United States of America basically into a corporation. You can actually look that up, and it actually is a legit thing.
That's sad. So
then it was like, which would explain a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know? So then it's like pretty much anything after him, which he was like, what, the 20-something or 30-something president, something like that.
At one time, I could have told you because I had them memorized for a quiz in AP U.S. history, but I couldn't know.
So basically, any president after him wasn't actually the president, because at that point,
he's climbing up my back.
Yeah. So at that point, Fox is climbing up her back, not Theodore Roosevelt.
No, not Theodore Roosevelt. Not Teddy.
No. So. He's playing with the boom arms now. So any president after that wasn't actually the president, because the United States of America was not actually the United States of America. It was a corporation.
They were the CEO.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, but that would make Trump the last president, right?
But so what the thing was saying that they were saying that Trump was trying to reverse that.
He does not. Oh my gosh, he scared me.
Fox, not Trump.
No, well.
Oh my gosh.
He doesn't seem like he would do that.
It doesn't seem. Honest with you. Well, because that's the thing. Like, people are just like, oh yeah, he actually had America's best interest in mind, and I'll be honest with you, I was soaking it up for a while because I was just like, oh yeah, I could totally see that. Like, he really just loves America, and then I realized how, like, much people were loving him.
How he's icky.
I wasn't going there. But how much people were loving him. The thing about, like, he did the peace treaty in the Middle East, and I was just like, yo, is Trump the freaking Antichrist? Like,
I don't know. I don't think enough people like him.
Well, that's the thing. Like, now I'm just like, looking back, I'm just like, when you're in the moment, you're just like, you know, oh my gosh. But now it's like, looking back, it's just like, yeah, no. But they were saying that, like, oh yeah, he actually cared about America and he knew about this stuff, so he was trying to reverse it, and that would technically make him not the 40.
Same.
I had to yawn. He wouldn't be the. Yeah, it's like 9:27 at night. He wouldn't be the. Please do not walk on. No, don't take the toothpick. Stop.
He's doing his best to.
Basically, he wouldn't be the 45th president. He'd be like the 20th something or the 30 something president. But it's like, if it's the last president, it's like, how is he the last president? Like, is it because Biden isn't actually the president, and after Biden, the country just kind of falls apart, and then it's like the last actual president was Donald Trump, or what, you know? So it's like, I don't know. I think it's a very interesting conspiracy theory, and I think that what makes it so interesting is who it's dealing with, and the fact that there are legitimate there are legitimate coincidences that it's just like, like, how many coincidences is too many, you know? So I don't know. Honestly, with as much money as he has, and the fact that his uncle was the first on the scene for Tesla when he died, I feel like they might actually have a a, time machine.
Maybe.
I feel like this could actually happen. You know. Yeah. Got about 15, 20 more minutes. No, I'm joking. No. So, yeah, that was the big conspiracy that I wanted to go over with today. And if anyone's listening, I want your guys' thoughts on it.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, because I found it highly entertaining and interesting to look through. And I think that was everything for that conspiracy theory. But yeah, so, thanks for listening. Hope you guys have a great day, night, whatever you're doing. We're about to take a shower and I'm about to read and go to bed. Yeah, it's been fun. This has been a really fun episode, actually. So, what do you think? I don't think the next one will be. Titanic is a couple of weeks away, so I'm going to wait on that. So I don't know what next week's episode is. Because right now we're on a roll. 2 weeks, 2 episodes. Dropping this Friday morning. It's Thursday night right now. So yeah, let us know if you have any suggestions. I always drop my Reddit username in there, and email is casualconpod@protonmail.com. I'm thinking about changing that because I realized that email is really close to another podcast that I found. That's the Alien Conspiracy Podcast. And I'm like, ooh, that's a little... So I might actually, just because also I always forget to log into the Proton Mail thing, I might just make a Gmail for it and just like start saying that. It will just confuse people if they go back and listen to our older episodes first and they're just like, wait, but I emailed this one. I'll be like, yeah, well. So yeah, hit us up there. Hit me up on Reddit. I will hopefully get those notifications. I would say the TikTok, but I'll be honest with you, I don't know the email and password for it.
God bless.
Well, because I never used it. I don't even have TikTok on my phone. It's too much of a distraction.
That annoys me. I try to send them to him all the time.
Yeah, so, yeah. Hope you guys have a great one. And we will see you in the next episode.
Bye.